You're so gloomy. We don't need you here. My boss, a woman who didn't know much and didn't care to learn, belittled me. I sighed, looking at her smug face. Well, then, I quit, I said and walked out, leaving her and the company behind. Months later, I ran into that awful woman again. Did you ever find a company that would hire someone as useless as you? She mocked. Yes, actually, your major client, I replied, watching as her face went pale with the realization of who I now worked for. My name is Ethan Ryder, and I'm a salesman, though not the kind who knocks on doors. I'm over 43 and prefer the quiet hum of a computer at my desk by the window. Good morning, Ethan. Good morning, Lucas. Ethan, we're grabbing drinks after work today. Care to join us? Thank you for the invite, but I have other plans. Got it. I kept to myself at the office, focused on my work. The age gap between me and my colleagues was significant, and their conversations rarely held my interest. I'd catch snippets of their whispers. Ethan always dresses so neatly, right? His clothes are always ironed perfectly, and his shirts are crisp. He smells amazing, too. It's not cologne, maybe fabric softener. I wonder what brand he uses. I never asked what they talked about, I had work to do. Time to clock out already. Good work today. Yes, good work today. Ethan always leaves on time, so we know when it's time to go. In a way, he's like an alarm clock for us. I left work on time every day. Sometimes I had places to be, sometimes I just wanted to go home. I had been with this food and beverage company for about 5 years. Before that, I worked for several others in the industry, never staying in one place too long. It was an executive at this company who sought me out, impressed with my reputation. They often recruited outside talent. Ethan, do you have a moment? Sure, I'm available. I wanted to ask about sales strategies. If it's something I know, I'll be happy to share. I can send you the information. Thank you. I'll email you later. I'd like to pick your brain about Company D and a few other things. Got it. Just like always, Amelia, I replied, already anticipating her direct approach. As the younger colleagues chatted nearby, Jason approached. Jason Blake was the only one close to my age in sales, and the one who'd brought me into the company. That's right. Thanks for your help with that issue. Got it. Also, the client wants to go out for drinks next time. Understood. Jason and I had history, a shorthand that made communication effortless. As the only other senior member, he juggled a lot, his attentiveness and single status making him quite popular. Let's keep up the good work today, he'd said as we enjoyed another peaceful day in sales. No drama, no fuss. That is, until she arrived. Nice to meet you. I'm Tessa Meyer, and I'll be the new department head starting today, she announced upon her transfer to our team. Tessa came from a larger, affiliated company, bringing with her an air of experience and an immediate shift in atmosphere. Is that so? Maybe it's a power trip, someone commented. Who knows, but she's our boss now, so let us hope we can work well together, I thought, observing Tessa. She wore a bright red outfit that screamed anything but professional, her makeup heavy, her perfume strong enough to reach my desk across the room. She exuded an air of assertive confidence, making it clear who was in charge. Listen to what I say. I'm in a higher position than you, she declared, leaving no room for doubt. The prospect of her as our boss made me uneasy. Hey, who prepared this document? She asked one day. Yes, that was me. Redo this document. And the client you're handling will now be my responsibility. Am I really changing this now? What's wrong with this document? Figure it out yourself. Look, it's easier to read this way. But in our company, we usually just do as I say, she insisted, making sure everyone in sales followed her lead. Because of her background in a big corporation, she's really the worst. She's all friendly with the young men and Jason, but she's tough on us women, a colleague whispered to me one day. I'm just trying to stay out of her way, I replied. It's tough, but let us support each other and get through this. Everyone followed her instructions, reluctant to cause trouble. Everyone, that is, except me. What's wrong? Jason asked, noticing my frustration. It's about Tessa, our manager. He invited me out for drinks on a rare day off, sighing heavily, his usually jovial face edged with concern. Tessa's been really on my case lately. Every day, she's asking me out. I see. I get it. I understood. She often invited him out for drinks or meals. Jason looked young for his age, so Tessa didn't seem to mind the gap, but he was uncomfortable with romantic entanglements, content with his single life. This relentless pursuit was a burden. When I talk to female colleagues, Tessa scolds them. It's so awkward. That's troublesome. Jason agreed, clearly struggling with Tessa's behavior. Upper management isn't much help, either. Yet. I tried talking to them once, and they were pretty indifferent. It's really affecting me. The whole atmosphere in the sales department has changed. Who knows what will happen next? As expected, our peaceful sales department had become a minefield of tension, everyone trying to avoid Tessa's bad side. Hey, you! She'd called out one afternoon. Yes. Don't just sit at your computer all day. Get out and work. I am working, though. I've told you to go out and visit your clients. Since I've been here, I haven't seen you leave the office even once, and yet you're always dressed up. And that's when Tessa started targeting me. She'd glance at my computer screen, clearly not understanding a thing I was doing. You're not doing any work, are you? I am doing my job. She assumed I was slacking off. Besides, you hardly talk to anyone in the office. You just say hello and nothing more. Everyone is busy, so I try not to disturb them, I explained, preferring the efficiency of emails and chat, which, ironically, was how I'd heard the rumors and complaints about her. Really, you're so gloomy. You're in sales, but you're glued to your computer. Not going out for field work, not interacting with other staff, and you're always dressed in mismatched clothes, leaving right on time. Are you taking your job lightly? Tessa seemed to genuinely dislike me, always finding something to criticize. Ethan, are you okay? Tessa was really hard on you today, right? I'm fine, I reassured them. She's focused on me right now, so it's been easier for the rest of you. Let me know if you need anything. We're here to help each other. Thank you, everyone. The sales staff had noticed what was happening, showing their concern, often intervening in subtle ways. There's work to do. Or a customer is here. They'd say, pulling her away. Tessa aside, I had good relationships with my colleagues. What's with that manager? She complains about Ethan leaving on time, but she leaves early, too. It's true. I saw her at a bar the other day. Me too. She was drinking, a lot. How much does she spend on drinks? Apparently, she was drinking with business partners, and it's all being paid for with company money. really. More and more, the gossip wasn't about Tessa's work skills, but her questionable behavior. "Are you okay?" a colleague asked one day. "I'm fine. If her bothering me gives you all a chance to work, then it's okay. I'm really sorry. If anything happens, I'll help out." He paused, then added, "You know, you've changed jobs a lot, haven't you? If you ever decide to leave, could you let me know?" I nodded, and Jason, ever loyal, went on his way. Unlike me, he was the type to stay put, but I sensed this situation was testing even his limits. A few months after Tessa arrived, trouble hit. The sales department expenses had increased, and orders for cost-cutting came down from above. "Why have the expenses gone up now? We're told to cut costs, it's ridiculous," Tessa complained. Everyone knew she was the reason. Her excessive spending on entertainment was the culprit, her frequent drinking outings now infamous. "I don't want to cut back on entertainment expenses. If they're cut, I won't be able to drink as much." And then, she turned on me. "It's your fault, Ethan." "Why me? You're not working. Having you here is a waste of expenses and salary. You're stealing company money." I was being accused unjustly, but what was the point in arguing? She wouldn't understand. I believed in my work, she only saw what she wanted to see. "To cut costs, I'll start by cutting you." What a mess. You're so gloomy. We don't need you. Pack up your things and get out of the company. "Is that an order from the boss?" I asked. "Yes." "You're fired," she declared, a triumphant smirk on her face. I merely sighed. "Then, I quit. Don't ever come back to this office. Getting rid of an incompetent employee will save us money." Without much resistance, I packed my things and left the company. "Are you really quitting?" "Why so suddenly?" Tessa taunted. "I was fired." Well, if she said so, maybe there's no other way. Even the executives seemed powerless against Tessa and her connections to the larger company. That was it. I resigned and walked away. "Ethan, please come back to our company. We need you here. We'll talk to the manager." Read the numerous messages that flooded my phone, begging me to reconsider. But I had been fired. There was nothing more to be done. "If you're not here, I don't know how to proceed with our business strategy," a female colleague said earnestly over the phone. "I appreciate everyone's words, but I've been let go." "Don't say that," she pleaded. As much as I sympathized with my trusting colleagues, my mind was made up. I had options. I said my goodbyes. "Well, then, Ethan, are you okay?" It was Amelia. "Actually, I was about to contact you. I had reached out to a certain company, and then, my phone rang. It was Jason. I heard from everyone. You're really quitting?" "That's right. Do you have another job lined up?" "Yes, fortunately." "Ethan, we've known each other since our previous job, but I have a favor to ask." "I already talked about you, Jason." "Thank you so much, I really appreciate it." A few months after leaving that toxic company, I found myself at a high-end restaurant for a business meeting. To be honest, the person I was meeting today was a bit difficult to deal with. As I waited at the entrance, I heard a familiar voice. Well, long time, no see." It was Tessa Meyer. "Oh, look, it's the gloomy window seat guy," she drawled, her tone dripping with disdain. "What are you doing here? Surely not eating, right? You couldn't possibly afford a meal here, could you?" she mocked. Did you ever find a company that would hire someone as useless as you? Well, actually. They can't be anything important, right? She interrupted, not giving me a chance to speak, her mocking laughter echoing around us. What would a useless, non-worker like you be doing at such a high-end restaurant? Are you part of the cleaning staff? It's just like you to try to look cool. I'm not part of the cleaning staff. Suit you at all. I'm here for work today. Work. Ha. That's a word for people who actually work hard, like me. Not for incompetents like you. As I grew increasingly weary of her insufferable chatter, someone else approached. Hey, sorry I'm late. I've been waiting for you, Director Mr. Hamilton. It was Mr. Hamilton, the director from the major restaurant chain, Bloom Dining. I shook hands with Mr. Hamilton, and Tessa, her demeanor shifting dramatically, bowed her head. Director Mr. Hamilton. Thank you so much for your valuable time today. Seeing that it was Director Mr. Hamilton, Tessa was suddenly all smiles and charm, demonstrating just how important this business meeting was to her and her company. Hi, Tessa. Looking forward to working together. But really, if both of you had arrived earlier, you could have waited inside, Mr. Hamilton said to me with a friendly smile. Tessa looked confused. What? Ethan is involved in this business. She mumbled under her breath, clearly thrown by this turn of events. Shall we go inside? Then Mr. Hamilton suggested, taking the lead. Why yes. Yes, let's. Tessa replied, still trying to process what was happening. Prompted by Mr. Hamilton, we entered the restaurant and were shown to a private room. What's going on here? Tessa hissed at me, her face a mask of confusion. Don't rush, you'll understand soon, I whispered back, making sure Mr. Hamilton was out of earshot. Once inside the private room, I took out my business card. It was time to clear up this confusion. Here is my business card. I handed it to Tessa. What, really? Tessa's eyes widened as she read the card. It read, Ethan Murphy, Head of Bloom Dining Food Research Department. You asked earlier if there was a place that would hire me. Well, I was picked up by your major client, I said with a small smile. Tessa's face turned increasingly pale. You see, after leaving that company, I had contacted Mr. Hamilton. We had known each other for a while, and I had received an invitation from him previously. I'm glad you joined us, Ethan, Mr. Hamilton said. Thank you. I look forward to working with you. The pleasure is ours. We're grateful to have someone with your talents. We'll be counting on you. Yes, I'll do my best. That's how I joined Bloom Dining and took on the responsibilities entrusted to me. Just like at my previous company, my work was recognized, leading to a smooth promotion to my current position as head of the department. Is that really possible? Tessa mumbled, still in disbelief. Is something the matter? I asked. No, it's nothing, she replied, shaking her head, her face ashen. The realization that the person she had deemed incompetent and fired was now a department head in a major corporation. It was too much. It couldn't be. She was the competent one, the one who deserved success. What am I supposed to do now? She thought, her usual confidence shaken. The tables had turned. The business negotiation she had walked into, assuming a superior position, now felt precarious. The person she had ridiculed and mistreated, he held the cards now. Well. Tessa stammered, completely out of her element. How are things going with this matter? Mr. Hamilton prompted, looking expectantly at Tessa. She seemed unable to deliver her usual smooth sales pitch, glancing at me often, still reeling from the shock. Eventually, defeated, she excused herself from the meeting. "Did you know Tessa? She seemed quite concerned about you," Mr. Hamilton asked after we saw her off. "Actually, she's the one who fired me from my previous job, calling me a gloomy incompetent." "Really?" Mr. Hamilton looked surprised. I shared the whole story of my previous job, watching as his surprise turned to indignation, as if Tessa had personally offended him. "What a rude person she is." He paused. "Regarding this deal, I don't want to work with such a disrespectful person in the future. Let us get someone else to handle it." "Yes, let's proceed with the negotiations once the representative is changed." "All right, I'll make sure to communicate that." And so, Mr. Hamilton and I decided to request a change of representative from Tessa's company. Given our stronger position, it was likely Tessa would face repercussions. Later, a former colleague filled me in on the fallout. The executives confronted her. "What do you mean by changing the person in charge as a manager?" It turns out, the sales staff who had been putting up with her behavior, they reported her past actions to the executives, including the incident where she fired you. They told her, "We have refrained from reprimanding you because you're from an affiliated company, but this time, we will have to report back to your parent company." The look on Tessa's face, ashen. "Is that so? Thanks for letting me know." "Not at all. I owe you, Ethan," my former colleague replied, smiling, clearly relieved at how it all turned out. Some time later, I received a call from the executives at my former company. "Ethan, would you consider coming back to us?" they asked. Apparently, they were doing some serious soul searching after I left. The work I did in the sales department was re-evaluated, and there was a noticeable decline in performance, prompting an internal investigation. You see, I had been working, diligently researching long-term business strategies for our clients, staying up to date on recent trends, and explaining it all to the sales team in a way they could understand and utilize. I also advised on sales strategies, which is why I was always at my computer. Besides that, I was checking the financial status of all our business partners and managing accounts receivables to make sure they didn't become bad debts. I met with representatives from current and potential clients, gathering information, often over drinks. I was uncovering their needs, those of other companies, and providing feedback to the sales team. That's why I dressed well after work, and it made transitioning to other major corporations easier. You really did some significant work. You're in demand everywhere, I guarantee you. Not really, but I do get to see various companies because of it. How about this? We can offer you more than double your previous salary. Double my previous salary was a substantial amount, but I'm sorry. I can't trust a company that tolerated her behavior to such an extent, and I'm happy with my current job. And with that, I ignored their pleas to reconsider and declined their offer to return. I heard, our manager came in for negotiations for us. Mr. Hamilton is our director now. Oh. Jason was the first to approach me with the news. After I was fired, he decided to make the jump to Bloom Dining, joining the sales team. He had been with our previous company for years but had finally had enough of Tessa's antics. My firing was his breaking point. He thought about moving to another company, just like me. Interestingly enough, Mr. Hamilton, after hearing from me, was ready to hire Jason on the spot. But the ever-dedicated Jason insisted on a formal interview. Originally a talented salesman, Jason now excels at Bloom Dining, too. Ethan, please, listen. Calm down. Chloe, a female employee from my former department, who cried when she learned I had left, seemed to still hold me in high regard. I've been assigned the research tasks you used to handle. Can you teach me? Really taking over tasks from a company you left? Please. I really want to improve our sales. Despite my hesitation, I was moved by Chloe's eagerness and decided to teach her. So this is how it works. Yes, that's how it works. Our relationship resembles that of a teacher and student, due to the age difference. We're really like teacher and student, yes. It would be something like this if I had a student. Thank you, Professor. Teach me, too, Professor. Please, don't call me that. When we met occasionally for lessons, Derek, another former colleague, wanted in, eager to learn my sales techniques. I thought, with these two, that company will be okay. I was relieved to see them positively trying to learn. Just like before, they could form a great team much like Jason and I did. As for Tessa, she ended up back at her original company, demoted to a regular employee. However, her lavish lifestyle and love for drinking couldn't be sustained by her new, much smaller, salary. So she secretly started working at nightclubs. But moonlighting was against her company's rules. They found out, and she was fired. Now, Tessa struggles to attract clients because of her haughty attitude and isn't earning much. It's a sort of poetic justice, a case of cause and effect. I saw her looking rough in the downtown area recently. She caused a lot of trouble for others, and now it was her turn. Tessa, who once fired me, now faced her own hardships. She wouldn't have thought this would happen back then. She even contacted me, using the business card I gave her. Could you hire me at Bloom Dining? She asked. That's impossible. At least, contact Jason. She kept contacting me, becoming a nuisance, so I ended up passing her messages to Jason. I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in people like you. And frankly, I dislike you. Please don't contact me or my colleagues in the future. To be honest, I don't want to hear from you ever again. Jason refused her outright. After she continued trying to contact him, he contacted his lawyer. She was slapped with a restraining order and could no longer approach him. Being popular can be troublesome, but I never wanted this kind of attention. Jason and I had worked together at one of the companies I'd joined during my job hopping days. He had been engaged once, but after his fiancée died in a car accident, he remained single. He understood the nature of my work and began to rely on me. He's now a thriving, skilled, senior salesman. As for me, I'm grateful to be utilizing my skills at Bloom Dining, where I conduct research, with a more generous budget than before. Thanks to my efforts, Bloom Dining's default rate decreased significantly, and we're able to understand our clients' needs in greater detail, leading to increased contract rates. It was definitely the right decision to bring you on board. You've made a significant difference, Mr. Hamilton told me one day. I'm glad to be of service to the company. Everyone praises you. They say contracts became much easier to secure because you identify the needs so precisely. That's good to hear. I just did what I could. I'm really glad you joined this company. Meanwhile, back at my former company, I heard Chloe was doing great. Chloe, she's taken over your research tasks and is doing a fantastic job, Derek informed me. Her research skills are second only to yours, Ethan. Is that so? She did learn quickly when I was teaching her. I thought. I can't let her outdo me, Derek chuckled, clearly motivated by the competition. It seems they had become good motivators for each other, and their research efforts helped stabilize the sales department. Chloe is like Ethan's student. Her methods are just like yours. And you, Jason, you've been teaching Derek, right? That's true. While I was teaching Chloe, Jason also gave Derek advice whenever he could. Looks like it's time for a generational shift. Maybe. But since we're at different companies, we'll stay rivals for a while longer. Indeed, we can't afford to lose. Flashy jobs are easily noticed from the outside. But the supportive roles behind the scenes, those are just as important for a company's growth. While those in sales secure contracts, it's the administrative staff who provide crucial support. Cleaners keep the office and common areas tidy, contributing to the overall function. An organization can grow because it has employees fulfilling those various roles. It's often unclear who is doing what and how they contribute to the work. However, it's important to approach each role without prejudice and strive to understand the contribution of each member. Leaders, especially, should never forget this.